Jacob Pando wonders if morality is subjective. No, he actually demands that it has to be, proving that he's got no idea what the world he actually lives in is like. Let's go find out where he goes wrong. Well, here we go again with another video that was lost back in the big crash where I lost absolutely everything. The video, the script, the audio recordings, everything. And unfortunately, since I get so many new videos to address, it kind of fell into the depths of history. But I was poking through this guy's catalog and I remembered that this one was already on my list, so here we go. This time we return to Jacob Pando, a theist I've taken a look at before, as he tries to claim that well-being is a subjective standard for human ethics. And he's right. But it doesn't matter. So let's dive in and see where this goes, as Jacob asks if atheists have well-being.
Hello again, guys. Jacob here.
Hey Jacob, how's it going? I hope things are going well for you.
So, in my last video, where I talked about morality and atheism, I had someone comment something down below, and he said that morality is based on well-being.
It can be. There are lots of people out there, atheists and otherwise, who use well-being as a standard for their moral compass. I'm sure you're going to find some way to have a problem with it.
He said, and this isn't the first time I've heard this, it's that they say that morality is based on the collective well-being of a society.
And to a certain degree, I'd agree with that. Humans are an inherently social species. We need well-functioning societies in order to survive and thrive. So if we're going to pick a rational standard, then that doesn't seem like the worst thing we can go with. Unlike, say, the made-up words of an imaginary super being.
And I always have problems when someone tries to place an objective standard, like this false premise of an objective standard like well-being, as being the standard of morality.
Whoever said it was an objective standard? There are no objective moral standards, no matter what you wish was the case. And this is a common problem with the religious, that they demand that any moral standards have to be objective, mostly because they have no idea what objective actually means. God, if that's where you want to place your moral views, is not objective. It is subjective by definition. If any intelligent mind has to weigh in on the decision, it cannot be objective. Objective is defined as not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering and representing facts. Clearly, if God came up with morality, it is influenced by God's personal feelings or opinions. Thus, no morality based on that can possibly be objective.
And again, the same standards that I said in my last video apply to the idea of well-being. For example, why is it that different societies disagree with one another on standards of well-being?
Because people are different? Because people have different ideas? And let's be honest, because a lot of different religions have poisoned the minds of their adherents. That's why if you go to heavily Muslim countries, their ideas of well-being and justice and acceptable behavior differ significantly from heavily Christian countries or heavily Hindu countries or heavily Buddhist countries. That's why religion is a mind killer, because it makes people behave emotionally instead of rationally. That has a serious impact on how healthy a society actually is.
Why is it that I disagree with most of you on standards of well-being concerning abortion, the death penalty, the consequence that should be placed on rapists, and stuff like that? Why do we all disagree on what would be the best thing for our society?
A lot of it is your religion, I'm afraid. This is what happens when you uncritically buy into something that you can't or won't think about rationally. But it's also why when you strip religion and religious thinking out of a proposition, that proposition tends to change. It's why I reject a lot of religiously conservative ideas, because I'm not religious, but I apply logic and reason by thinking in these topics. Religion kills everything worthwhile.
And that again shows us that well-being is indeed subjective. It's a subjective standard, and it has no true value other than what we ourselves give it.
You say that like it's a bad thing. In fact, you say that like you have no idea what subjective and objective mean. Maybe that's your problem.
Like, I'm the one who says it has value. You know what I mean? To me.
And that's how reality works, Jacob. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but you get to decide on your own personal morality standards, and society gets to decide collectively what will be acceptable and what will not be acceptable within its own particular sphere of influence. This is how the real world operates, whether you like it or not.
And so it's still circular reasoning. It's like, because I say it has value, therefore it does have value. Or because the society says it has value, therefore it does have value.
Within the society, that's the truth. Within yourself, that's the truth. You aren't even in the same book with rational people, much less being on the same page. Your preconceptions about reality are getting in the way of you recognizing reality as it is.
And this is still very much circular logic. There's nothing to actually represent it as being true or not.
Because you have unrealistic expectations. You want it to be true, full stop, for everyone at all times and in all places. But that's not how it works. It isn't how it ever worked. It isn't how it will ever work ever. And this is something that I have identified in the past as intellectual laziness when it comes to morality and ethics. People like Jacob here want something that will always be true, no thought required. They don't have to work out why something is moral. They just want to be led around by the nose by an unquestionable authority that says that something is moral or immoral, and they don't have to waste a moment thinking about it for themselves. And again, that's not how reality works.
And, well-being can also be, I could also put it this way. Here's another example to try to that would discredit the idea of well-being as being some kind of objective standard.
You keep going back to that, which just proves you have no idea what you're talking about. There are no objective standards for morality, period. I don't care how that makes you feel.
Let's say I have $20. I can invest this $20 in my future. I could save it for some other time that I might need it. Now let's say there's a poor person out there who's hungry on the street. I could also give those $20 to him, or I could go to the store, buy him some food or some clothes, and give it to him instead of saving it for myself.
Yes, you could, and that's your choice. There doesn't have to be any objective standard telling you what the best course of action might be. And we all make these kinds of decisions every single day. And I'm sure Jacob here doesn't question what he's doing. He doesn't have to ask himself if God wants him to push that little old lady out into traffic or not. The society in which he lives has already made those decisions, and he's been indoctrinated into social moral norms since the day he was born. But if he lived in a Muslim country and had been indoctrinated into Muslim norms, then throwing gay people off of roofs might be seen as acceptable behavior. Or maybe killing your daughter because she made the family look bad, that might be seen as acceptable behavior. Or if you lived in some African Christian countries, murdering albinos so that he can use their organs in magical ceremonies, that might be seen as a good thing to do. There's nothing objective going on here, Jacob. Deal with it.
So whose well-being is more important? My well-being or the stranger's well-being? Someone who I might not ever know. I might not ever see again.
That's up to you. You get to make those decisions. And as more and more people make similar decisions in society, those moral views become unofficially or even officially codified into law and tradition. Things become socially acceptable or unacceptable, and over time, these ideas change as society changes. It was once perfectly acceptable for people to be kept as slaves and owned as property. Christianity pushed that. Today, not so much.
So this is my perspective of well-being.
Based entirely on a misconception of how morals and ethics work.
And I believe what I'm saying is completely true.
I'm sure you believe it's true. That doesn't make it true.
It's morality in an atheist worldview. No matter what or who says what, it's always going to be subjective.
Yes, it is, because that's how morality, all morality, even your morality works. And just because you don't like that doesn't make it so. Your emotional comfort and intellectual laziness isn't something to be proud of.
There's not going to be any true purpose or value in life other than what you yourself think the value it has. You know what I mean? Or whatever logic you use to come up with the consequences for different actions.
That's life. Nothing has any inherent value beyond what you and your community and your society places on it. It doesn't matter if that fact makes you happy or not. That's simply the reality.
So you tell me what you think, guys, about my video and what I've had to say so far, and you have a blessed day.
Well, I won't have a blessed day because the idea is silly, but I think I've told you what I thought. Not that you will take any of it to heart, because the fact is, you are intellectually lazy when it comes to morality and ethics. And that's not an insult, because a lot of people, maybe even the majority of people, are the same way. They just want a set of rules to live by that they don't have to think about, don't have to justify, and certainly don't have to make any hard decisions about, because thinking is hard and blind faith is easy. And it's not just morality that this happens with. People vote for big governments because they want someone else to take authority over them and solve all the problems and make life easier because they're lazy. Because they don't recognize that forming a worthwhile and successful society takes work from all of us. That people are going to have to act based on logic and reason for the betterment of everyone. John F. Kennedy got it right when he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." This isn't about having your hand out, either physically or metaphorically. It's about doing your part for others in a reciprocal society. And if Christians like Jacob here don't even understand the reality that they find themselves in, how can they hope to actually accomplish anything? This is why morality is such a mess when it comes to religion. The religious don't even understand the question, much less the concept.